How's it going, everybody? Thank you for checking my channel. If you guys are watching this on Switch 209, please make sure to go down into the description below and click on the link to my new gaming channel, which is Switch 209 Gaming. Make sure to give me a sub over there so that way you can stay up to date on when my new Diablo 2 Resurrected content is going to be uploaded. And welcome to today's video. Whirlwind finally got the buff that it deserves. It's a good step in the right direction, and hopefully it can continue to get more buffs from here to be able to be a viable choice for the build option for the Barbarian or even a Whirlwind Assassin. Now, the new patch that came out is patch 2.4.3. And this is something that they wanted to bring out to correct some of the things that were introduced in patch 2.4 that released earlier this year. And one of the things that they buffed is Whirlwind. So I'm gonna go over the patch notes in this video that pertain to that and to be able to give you guys examples on the screen of what it actually looks like before the patch notes came out and then after, now that patch 2.4.3 is now live. So you could see side by side the differences in how they actually look. And because I am very aware that attack rating does play into this, but the patch notes only talk about IAS, so I'm only going to be going through the IAS parts for this video, so that way you guys can see the difference in speed and to be able to show that this actually now is becoming more of a viable choice for a build to use, and it's not just going to be left as something to be played as a niche character for, again, the Barbarian or even just a Whirlwind Assassin, especially when it comes to PvP. Let's jump into the video and check it out. As far as the buff's concerned, what they did is they're adding the IAS or the increased attack speed from all of your gear to be utilized with the skill and not just relying on the speed of the weapons, because for a very long time, Whirlwind was dependent on the speed of the weapons and added nothing more. What this meant was you could have IAS stacked on your gear, such as gloves, armor, helmet, or amulet, and none of that would come into effect when it comes to using the skill. It's only, again, reliant on the weapons. But now you're able to actually stack it all on your gear to be utilized with the actual weapons themselves to make your Whirlwinds go faster. Now, reading the patch notes, they go ahead and highlight being able to do other attacks as soon as the Whirlwind is ended, changing how often the Whirlwind attacks occur, now adding in IAS from all of your gear. I have a link to an IAS calculator down in the description below for any of you guys that want to be able to do the math to better understand this build as far as the frame rates, the IAS, and all the different aspects that come into play. The frames in between each Whirlwind are now equal to the attack frame of the basic attack for that character, then adding the IAS from all of your gear. This makes slower weapons that otherwise would never be used now more likely to want to be used, because where the weapon may lack an IAS can now be made up for in the rest of your gear, just as you will see later on. From the sound of the bug fixes, short distance Whirlwinds will at least do one attack on an enemy. I don't know, I'll have to do some testing with that. Looks like the broken weapon bug is now fixed. Sorry, Cooley. But Whirlwind is now treated the same as the other attacks, choosing 2 targets at dual-wielding weapons. Now, for full transparency, again, I'm very aware that your attack rating comes into huge play when it comes to melee builds, especially when it comes to having a better chance of hitting. However, because the patch notes go over IAS and IAS only, I'm going to be featuring gear that simply just goes over IAS, and I understand that I might not be hitting quite as often because my attack rating is really low, but I want to be able to show the difference in speed when it comes to weapons with IAS and without IAS. Now, the first bit of footage that you're going to see behind me was recorded on June 27th, so that way you guys can see the before aspect of the build before the new patch came out, to where we can actually use IAS from the gear with the skill, comparatively speaking to before, where that would not be a factor. This is the gear that I used. I have 2 deaths just for demonstration purposes, because if I use something like Beast or Breath of the Dying, they both come with IAS, but I wanted to use no IAS at first just to show the difference in speed. The speed of the dual deaths is noticeably slow to attack. Unfortunately, this would be a poor setup choice without IAS, but because these are rune words, adding IAS to the weapon now is impossible. Using Frenzy to get a few hits in and then return to using Whirlwind definitely helps with the speed of the Whirlwind, depending on how many points you invest in the Frenzy and how many hits you get before going back to Whirlwinding. Now I've added some gear with IAS where in any other build would help to increase the speed of the attack, but again, because I'm using Whirlwind, unfortunately does nothing. I'm only doing this to be able to show the difference in speed when it comes to using Whirlwind before and after any IAS boost from your gear, because in patch 2.4 there's still no boost to IAS. But to see the difference now, comparatively speaking to when 2.4.3 goes into effect, is said to be a noticeable difference. Unfortunately, there's no change in the speed of the attack comparing to with and without IAS on the weapon and additional gear. Again, this is a fun build and the animation is pretty cool, but other than that, it's just more so seen as a niche build to use over other more effective builds. Looking at the Whirlwind Assassin, dual wielding Chaos Claws, again just for demonstration purposes, and even having IAS on the additional gear, is unfortunately not very fast with only +2 to Whirlwind and nothing else boosting the speed of the attack. Wow, that animation is terrible. Is this just my game or is this game glitched? She's effectively spinning as far as the whirlwind animation, but she's standing still. And she's also making it to where my screen kind of moves around a little bit. Blizzard, what the hell is up with this? I'm recording this now on June 29th. This is actually 30 minutes after the new patch was released. That way you guys can see the comparison of before, when I actually filmed this 2 days ago, to now when we can actually use the IAS from the additional gear and not just rely on the speed of the weapons. I'm using as much IAS as possible on this build, as we already saw what no IAS looks like. I'm using High Lords, Treachery, Steel Skull with an IAS jewel to boost the IAS, and 2-piece Saigon's gloves and boots, because 2 pieces adds 30 IAS versus using 20 IAS gloves and getting nothing from your boots, rounding off with gold wrap for additional IAS. Looking at the IAS from all the additional gear, unfortunately because Death doesn't have any, it adds it to 130%. This should be more than enough to see a difference compared to 0 IAS before the patch update for the exact same weapons. The skill actually looks like it's going a lot faster comparatively speaking to before the actual new patch was released today. And one thing that's really nice about this is because you would have on other builds the IAS to be able to help your character to hit faster, along with being able to stack the appropriate attack rating to be able to have a better chance of hitting. This is going to make it to where you're going to be able to attack a lot more frequently, and especially for those that want to play PvP, make this build again a lot more viable to be able to play and a lot more fun as well, hopefully encouraging more people to give it a try. Wait, are you serious? Griswold's Honor, and I have what? Less than 100 magic find. This was just supposed to be a highlight video of showing whirlwind speeds before and after the new patch notes. I wasn't actually expecting to find something really good with barely any magic find. So this is awesome. I definitely was not expecting this. That is actually one of the harder pieces to find. I mean, aside from the weapon itself. So yeah, that's dope. I'm stoked on that. Now for the Whirlwind Assassin. I'm using the same gear as the Barb had to be able to complement the dual Chaos Claws, making the IAS total up to 160% for both claws. Her whirlwinding actually looks a lot better. Granted, it's still not perfect. I'm still getting that a little bit of lag when it comes to her actually getting ready to spin. She's standing still while the actual animation of the skill is going on. And the screen is not being as shaky, but overall she definitely looks like she's going a lot faster comparatively speaking to before when the IAS on the additional gear was not a factor. And this is hopefully going to make her build a lot more fun, again, for a lot of people to now want to try out, especially when it comes to PvP, or for those that just want to give something really niche and fun a try when it comes to PvM. And just like before, if you have a few points invested in Frenzy and get a few hits off before you actually start whirlwinding, your whirlwind speed is going to be incredible. For one of the last points that they mentioned in the patch notes, when it comes to rounding off the IAS for both of the weapons, I believe that's going to be, for example, when it comes to Beast and Breath of the Dying, because I did mention them earlier. One of them has 40, which is Beast, and you have Breath of the Dying that has 60. Rounding them off is going to make it to where both weapons are going to be having 50 IAS, not including the additional IAS on all of your gear. And that's going to be it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it and are able to see the difference in the whirlwind speed when it comes to before the new patch and after the new patch, being able to stack more IAS on all of your additional gear and not just relying on the weapons. If you like this kind of content and want to see more, hit the subscribe button to not only this channel if you're watching on Switch 209, but also to my gaming channel, Switch 209 Gaming. The link for that is going to be in the description as well as the pinned comment. And hopefully you guys will give me a sub over there. All of my Diablo 2 Resurrected videos are going to start to go over there from now on instead of the main channel. And if you enjoyed this video, let me know by leaving a like. It really does go a long way to helping this channel to grow. Other than that, I hope you're all staying safe, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.